There's something that happens on long, empty highways after midnight, a moment when the road stops feeling like a road, and starts feeling like a memory trying to chew its way back into your head. If you've ever felt watched while driving at night, you're in the right place. It was past 2 a.m., the world stretched thin and hollow, the asphalt glowing faintly under an oversized moon. He'd taken this road more times than he could count, a shortcut he trusted, a routine escape from life. But tonight the air felt off. Thick. Watching. His headlights flickered once. Just once. Like something tall and fast had cut across their beam. The dashboard lights dimmed with it, pulsing like a held breath. He blamed the battery, the cold, anything rational, but unease bled into his skin all the same. That's when he saw it. A crushed orange safety cone sitting alone on the shoulder. Bent in the middle, streaked with black soot. Weirdly familiar, though he was sure he'd never seen it here. He drove past it and exhaled. But 30 seconds later, another cone appeared. Same dent. Same soot. Same wrongness. He checked the clock. 2:14 a.m. He drove another mile. Still 2:14 a.m. The radio dissolved into a low dragging static that sounded like breathing. The kind of slow inhale-exhale rhythm you'd hear from someone sitting in the dark, waiting for you to notice them. He told himself he was exhausted. His brain misfiring. Nothing more. Anything to avoid the truth peeling open inside him. Then came the objects on the roadside. A shredded tire. A dented guardrail. A rusted sedan. Spaced apart in perfect rhythm. And when that exact sequence replayed again, he felt something cold clamp around the center of his chest. This wasn't fatigue. This was a trap. The darkness around the car thickened. Not fog, heavier, stickier, like the air had turned to slow-moving water. The road markings blurred, dragging into shapes that twitched at the corner of his vision. Then a new object appeared in the headlights. A child's blue sneaker, half buried in gravel. His throat tightened. He didn't know why. Pressure built behind his eyes, a memory he couldn't name trying to claw its way to the surface. Except it didn't feel like his memory. It felt foreign, raw, full of someone else's terror. The loop tightened. The same sedan. The same cone. The same sneaker. The highway wasn't replaying something he'd forgotten. It was showing him something it remembered. One more loop and the world snapped into clarity. This road wasn't reliving his trauma. It was stealing it, swallowing the fear and memories of every driver who'd ever gotten trapped here. Stitching them together into a single collective nightmare, reusing the pieces like props. The cones weren't remnants from him. The sneaker didn't belong to a child he knew. The rusted sedan wasn't from his past. They were leftovers from drivers who never made it out. And now the road was reaching deeper into him, pulling at his thoughts, scraping through his guilt, hunting for something it could take. He slammed the accelerator. The loop warped. The darkness thinned. Then, headlights burst into open road, clean and untouched, like he'd broken through a membrane. He pulled into a rest stop shaking, lungs burning like he'd outrun a wildfire. That's when something slid off the passenger seat and landed at his feet. A child's blue sneaker. Brand new. Not weathered. Not dirty. Like it had just been handed to him. And in that moment he understood the truth. You don't escape that highway. You just carry its memories for it. Until it comes back for the rest. There's a back road you hope never exists until you end up on it. A stretch so empty it feels carved out of memory, not earth. He drove it to avoid highway construction, the GPS whispering in its cold monotone. Recalculating, recalculating. The night was unnervingly quiet. Trees rose like walls, swallowing the moonlight. Crickets had vanished. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then came the streetlight. A single, skeletal tower standing in the middle of nowhere, illuminating nothing but black asphalt. Under it, a shadow flickered, humanoid in shape, but too vague to call human. He told himself it was moonlight trickery. Just tricks of the moon. Still, unease coiled in his chest. He drove on. That's when he heard it, a slow scraping sound behind the car. Rhythmic. Measured. Matching his speed. Mirrors reflected nothing. Just darkness. Skid marks appeared along the asphalt, perfectly spaced, fresh and deep. Fear tightened like a fist around his ribs. "It's debris, just debris," he whispered to himself. But his voice didn't convince him. The road stretched endlessly. Every curve, every tree, every shadow repeated like it had been rehearsed. The GPS froze. One word pulsed on the screen in harsh white letters. Return. No distance. No direction. Just that command. The scraping grew louder. Pebbles slid backward along the car floor. Air pressure shifted, heavy and unnatural. He felt a weight behind him, memory pressing upward, trying to push through. A fleeting thought struck him. Did someone die here once? A crash? A missing person? He didn't know. But the road seemed alive, aware, hungry. The scraping finally revealed itself. It wasn't chasing. It was attached. A long, black smear pulsed across the asphalt, stretching and twisting as if the road itself exhaled. It was the fused imprint of drivers before him, their fear, their final moments, stitched together. The streetlight's shadow from earlier flickered again, now part of the smear, confirming what he had glimpsed. This wasn't random. Decades ago, the road had been rerouted through a burial site avoided by the town. The ritual of the road had begun then, feeding on anyone who entered. He was next. He slammed the accelerator, the car bursting through darkness into an open rural street. Streetlights, mailboxes, everything normal. The scrape stopped. He drove home, trembling, lungs burning. It seemed safe. Until the driveway. A fresh black drag mark stretched from the main road to his front door. Thin. Long. Still warm. A tiny pebble slid across the concrete. The scraping began again, faint, deliberate, alive. He understood then. The road hadn't ended. It had only moved. And whatever it had, whatever it wanted, was still coming. There's a stretch of highway few maps acknowledge. Drivers call it the Hollow Mile, a ribbon of asphalt that seems to disappear and reappear at will. He was headed home after a late shift, the neon glow of gas stations behind him fading into memory. The air smelled wrong, metallic, thick, like iron spilled into the night. Even the moon seemed reluctant to shine. The first sign appeared half a mile ahead. A roadside billboard, torn and sagging, its painted message unreadable. But the symbols on it moved when he blinked, like they were breathing. Blink again. Still moving. He felt his pulse spike. Must be exhaustion, he told himself. But exhaustion never made the trees lean closer, their limbs twisting toward the asphalt like fingers. The road twisted unnaturally. Shadows folded over themselves. The dividing lines doubled and split, forming patterns that felt familiar, like a memory he couldn't place. Wind picked up. The tires whispered over asphalt as if the road itself exhaled. Then a sound. Not scraping, not mechanical, a soft, wet slap against the tarmac, timed with his heartbeat. He glanced in the rearview mirror. Nothing. He slowed. The sound slowed. He accelerated. It followed. The Hollow Mile didn't obey physics. Curves looped back impossibly. Trees reflected in the car windows, but never in the right order. Every object on the side of the road repeated. An abandoned orange cone. A dented guardrail. A single shattered headlight. They weren't random. They were markers. His chest tightened. A flash of recognition, a child's toy car, crushed and half buried in gravel, identical to one he remembered leaving in a driveway years ago. Memory pressed in, a memory of someone lost, a small life he could never save, a mistake he tried to forget. The road had remembered. It had collected it. It wanted it back. Then he saw it, the black streak. Not behind. Not beside. It appeared in the asphalt ahead, twisting and stretching, like shadow made liquid, forming shapes that whispered all the regrets he'd buried. The hollow mile was not a road. It was a collector of guilt, trauma, and memory. Every driver left a trace. Every trace came alive. He realized too late, the road didn't just remember. It fed. He swerved, tires squealing, headlights cutting through fog like knives. Trees bent further, shadows reaching, grasping. The streak surged forward, splitting into countless thin lines, each one crawling like fingers along the asphalt. It enveloped the lane beside him, behind him, every reflection in the mirrors. Finally, he burst onto a normal road again, streetlights blinking back into order. Heart hammering, he pulled into his driveway. Relief should have come. It didn't. On the asphalt, stretching from the highway to his garage, a fresh black drag mark marred the concrete. It pulsed slightly, wet and alive. And then the sound began again. A wet slap, timed with his heartbeat, coming from behind him. He stepped back. The air smelled metallic. The hollow mile had followed him, and it would not let him go. In the end, the night never really ends. Not out here. Not on roads that remember more than we do. If you want more stories like this, like, subscribe, and step back into the dark with me.